Om. Peace, peace, peace. We had done verse number 14, so 15. Here is a question. After enlightenment, does the enlightened one see the world? It's an interesting question. You see, in Advaita Vedanta it is said, the core truth is Brahman alone is real, the world is an appearance, and you are none other than Brahman. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmeva Napara. Brahman alone is real, existence, consciousness, bliss. And what about this world? It's an appearance. It's not real in itself. What about me? Am I an appearance or real? You are real. You are none other than Brahman. Now, if this is so, the world is an appearance. After enlightenment, does a person see, the enlightened person see the world? Does the enlightened person experience the world? After all, when you use an example like the snake and the rope, when the person who thought it was a snake realizes it's a rope, what happens to that false snake? It disappears, and he sees the rope. So is it like that? Does the world disappear in some puff of smoke and then you see nothing but light or something like that? Or do you still continue to see the world? The answer is an interesting both yes and no. It's like asking you, when you look out into the ocean, all these waves and the surf and so on, and you realize it's all water. Once you realize that it's all water, do you still see the waves? You'll say, yeah, I see the waves. But it's all water. How do you see the waves? You'll say that, well, I see both. Some people might say. That's strictly not true. If when you use the word both, you mean there are two things. I see the wave and the water. If you say there are two things, that's not strictly true. Because if I ask you, give me the water, you can keep the wave. What are you left with? With nothing. There's the ancient story of a non-dualist and a dualist. They used to have these gladiatorial combat between scholars of different philosophical schools. They would debate which is right, dualism and non-dualism. So there was this great non-dualist and another equally great dualist who came to challenge him in the court of the king, and they had a long discussion, a long debate. And obviously the non-dualist had not done his homework because he lost miserably. So, and the example that they used is a classic example in Vedanta. It's called the silver and nacre example. Sometimes when you go to the beach, you see these seashells. They shine in the distance like silver. So the story is that somebody mistook it for silver, just like the snake and the rope, and goes near and sees that it's a seashell, it's not silver. So that's called in Sanskrit, Shukti Rajata. Shukti means the seashell and Rajata means silver. That error, it's an illusion. Now, after the non-dualist lost the debate, the dualist who had won the debate, they would get rewards from the king, whoever won the debate. So he said, I asked for my reward. I have proved that dualism is true. And the king, who was sort of partial to the non-dualist, he said, well, you're right. All the silver which appears in the seashells in my kingdom, you can take all the silver. There is no silver there. It just looks like that. So there are no two things. If you take the water away from the wave, there is no wave left. And yet you do see the wave. So what you see is actually the water with a name, wave, with a form, a wavy form, and a function, a behavior like the wave. So name, form, and function, they continue even after enlightenment. After enlightenment, does the enlightened person see his or her body? Yes. But knows that it is Brahman. Does he or she feel hunger? Yes. And will food satisfy that hunger? Yes. But all the time, the enlightened person knows that underneath all of this, it is one existence, consciousness, bliss shining forth. What appears as the world is just that, an appearance. A well-known British philosopher, Bradley, he put it this way: reality never appears, and what appears is not real. So what appears to us is the world, name, form, and function. I remember I was once in Gangotri in the Himalayas, and there was this Swami I used to go to study. He was quite old by that time. He used to live in a little ashram, and it's magnificent views, surrounded by the towering mountains, and those are real giants, nearly 20,000 feet high, and with the glaciers coming down the mountain sides. We were in the valley, so it was not that cold. Very beautiful. And the river Ganga running by just next to the ashram. It's very narrow there, narrow and fast. Now, this Swami had never seen television. So there was a TV crew which was filming the Ganga, the river and the valley there. And they thought we should show this Swami what TV is like. So what they did was, and this I heard from the Swami himself, the story. So they set up the television set and they cranked up a generator and they focused the camera on the river and they showed him on the TV set. And the Swami, with childlike wonder, he was telling us, Mahatmaji, monks, we're a gathering of monks. Oh monks, do you know, I could see everything. There in that box was the river. And he could hear it sound, the gurgling sound of water. You could see it and hear it. Then I asked that gentleman, the TV crew chief, "Sir, can you give me a glass of Ganga water from there?" And then the chief laughed and he said, "Oh Swami, there is no water there, it just looks like that." Then the Swami looked at us keenly and he said, "Look around you, O monks, these mountains and glaciers and the river and the forests. None of it is there, it just looks like that. It is one existence, consciousness, bliss. It appears in all these forms." So the enlightened person sees through this illusion. We get stuck at the illusion. The 15th verse said, "Antar Drig Drisya Viveka Bahishcha Brahma Sargayor Avrinoti Apara Shakti Sa Samsarasya Karanam." You remember the two powers of Maya? One is the veiling power, one is the projecting power. It's the projecting power which projects this universe and our bodies and minds. Projects it from what? From Brahman. That projecting power is not bad. It still continues to project even after you get enlightened. But what really causes our problems is the veiling power. The veiling power of Maya hides Brahman from us. Where? Outside. And where? Inside. That I am Brahman, it's not clear to me. That all this is Brahman, that's also not clear to me. So it's the veiling power of Maya which is the problem. In fact, another Swami who's passed on recently, Ramananda Saraswati, I used to attend his classes in Rishikesh, in Kankal actually, in Haridwar. He, for the first time when he saw an X-ray, he was excited. And he said, "Look, monks, this is exactly what your vision should be like. This light, it penetrates through skin and flesh and blood and goes straight to the bones. In the same way, the vision of a Vedantic, of a Vedanta student should be like that, of a monk should be like that you penetrate through, not that you see skeletons walking around all the way, X-ray vision like Superman, no. That the name and form appears, but you see the reality beneath. That you see that it is one reality." We were just singing about Ganesha just now. If you know the icon of Ganesha, the Ganesha has all the Hindu gods and goddesses, they have their vehicles, which are usually animals or birds. So Ganesha, you know what is the vehicle? The mouse. Yes, the mouse. So And that's pretty funny actually. Ganesha is pretty heavy. He has an elephant head and a big belly, and the little mouse is the vehicle for Ganesha. So Ganesha goes around on the mouse. So whenever you have an image of Ganesha, there will be a little mouse there. Now there's a story of a rich businessman who had a golden image of Ganesha, and he fell upon hard times. So he had to pawn it off, to sell it off to the shop and get some money. So he goes to the shop, the jeweler, and says, "Here is my golden Ganesha. How much will you give me for it?" And the jeweler weighs it and says, "This is the rate at which I give money for gold. So much dollars or so much rupees for so many ounces of gold. Okay, so this is what you'll give me for Ganesha. How much will you give me for the mouse?" And the jeweler said, "It's the same thing. I'll give you the same rate for the mouse." And this man was outraged. "What? You unbeliever? You are equating Ganesha with the mouse? The same rate for Ganesha and the same rate for the mouse?" And the jeweler said, "Look, forgive me, but for you it's Ganesha and the mouse. For me it's gold. And I weigh it and value it at the same rate." It's exactly like that for us. We see all these differences. The enlightened person also sees the difference. The jeweler knew the difference between Ganesha and the mouse, but the jeweler sees through the name and form to the underlying reality, which is gold. In the same way, the enlightened person sees the names and forms, but sees through them to the underlying reality, which is a Brahman, Satchidananda. Not with these eyes, but with the eye of knowledge. So that happens when the veiling power of Maya is gone. This is explained further in the next few verses. Verse 16. Yes. Sakshina purato bhati, Sakshina purato bhati, Lingam dehena sanyutam, Lingam dehena sanyutam, Chitichhaya samaveshat, Chitichhaya samaveshat, Jivasyadvyavaharika, Jivasyadvyavaharika. How this veiling power of Maya reduces us, you and me. We are none other than God. We are Brahman. But it reduces us, appears to make us this little body and mind. That's explained here. Sakshina purata bhati, the pure consciousness within, which we are. As if in front of that pure consciousness, what's the first thing that consciousness falls upon? The mind. Sakshina purata bhati lingam. Lingam means a subtle body. Mind, intellect, ego, memory. That's what appears first in front of the witness consciousness. And that subtle body is connected to this gross body, physical body. So subtle body first, then physical body, and obviously outside that the world. These appear in sequence before the witness consciousness. So you see the first line, Sakshinav Puratav Bhati, in front of the Sakshi, witness consciousness, shines. What shines? Why does it shine? It shines because of your light, the light of the witness consciousness. What shines? Lingam, the subtle body, which we discussed yesterday. The Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellect and the ego and the mind and the memory and the pranas and so on. It shines in front of the, front is a way of speaking, in front of the witness consciousness. And this subtle body is connected to the physical body. And what happens to the witness consciousness? Chitit Chaya Samavesha, the witness consciousness gets reflected in the mind. It's like you bring a mirror in front of you. Immediately what will happen is your face will get reflected in the mirror. So far so good, no problem. Real face, mirror, reflected face. But then the problem starts. Normally we don't forget this, but suppose somebody forgets that this is my face and thinks, here is my face. Where is my face? Here, in this mirror. So if the mirror is dirty, the face looks dirty. Let me scrub my face. The mirror is concave and the face looks funny, concave. Mirror is convex, the face looks funny. And all the problems are of the mirror. and the problems are of the reflected face. But this person has forgotten the real face. Because of the veiling power, the real face is hidden from this person's understanding, and he thinks that I am that one. And so samsara starts for that person. Exactly in the same way, we are reflected. The pure consciousness is reflected in the mind. We forget that we are pure consciousness. And we see the reflection in the mind, and we think, that's who we are. But that reflection in the mind is affected by the mind. Suppose the sun is reflected in a pool of water. If the water moves, the reflected sun moves. The real sun does not move. If the water is disturbed, the image of the reflected sun, disturbed. Real sun, undisturbed. In the same way, we being reflected in this mind, this reflected consciousness, this is what is called the jiva, the individual sentient being. Then we begin to get affected by the mind. Anger arises in the mind, and the reflected consciousness in the mind. I'm saying reflected consciousness in the mind, but basically it's exactly what we think of ourselves just now. Just now, anger flashes in the mind. I am angry. Depression comes in the mind. I feel so bad. These are movements of the mind being revealed by that reflected consciousness. You are none of it. You are not the mind. You're not the reflected consciousness. You are this, which is being reflected there. But we miss this. I can't resist telling you a story. It's a famous story, and it's really, really effective. It's really effective. You see, the point is, we, the witness consciousness, Sakshi, Brahman, Atman, I use all of them indifferently. They all mean the same thing. They're different context. That's right here, right now, but we are missing it all the time. We are missing it all the time. And we identify ourselves with the reflected consciousness. How we miss it all the time, there's a story. And what do we do about it? There's this story. 10 friends. It's a famous old story in India. Just about every kid knows it. There's 10 friends went on a trip. They were traveling from their village to another village, and they had to cross a river in between. And when they walked across the river, it was a shallow river, not very deep. And they came on the other side. One of them thought, did we all cross over or did somebody drown? Let me count. And the person counted. Hey, you guys, line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, that can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, the 10th person is not there. The 10th person is dead, is drowned. And the others say, my God, that's terrible. You couldn't have got it right. Let me count. And they count, and each of them gets 9. And so they think that the 10th person, our poor friend, he drowned in the river. Oh my God. And they sit down and start crying and weeping and wailing until a wise person comes by. In India, always a wise person comes by in these stories. So the wise person comes by and says, my friends, why are you weeping? Well, our friend, the 10th person is dead. We crossed the river and he must have drowned. He's not there anymore. And this person must have counted, and he saw there were 10 of them. How do you know that the 10th person is not here? We counted. We find only 9. Then this man tells them, my friends, don't cry. Don't weep. Relax. I'm telling you, the 10th person is there. Believe me, it's there. This is important. The guru comes, the text comes and tells us, you are not this body. You are not going to die. You are not even this mind. You are not a slave to its whims and fancies. You are an immortal consciousness. Where? We ask where? And the guru says, the teacher says, the text says, it's there. Believe me, relax, I'll show you. But first you relax. Don't cry. If you are weeping and wailing, you won't get it. So you relax first, and you have faith in the guru. You have faith in the text that what they are telling us is true. Let me see. And the man promises, I'll show you the 10th person. Okay, I don't know. We don't see the 10th person, but since you are saying it, you're a good man. We believe you. The 10th person is here. Can you show me the 10th person? Yes. Line up. And he tells one of them, count. But I already counted. Humor me. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this man comes and takes this person's hand and points it this way and says, thou art the 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. And this man goes, oh, 10. I am the 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, the 10th person has been found. What joy. And the others say, let me try. And they also they try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God, the 10th person is there. And so the 10th person is not drowned. The 10th person is found. We may laugh at them, but we are doing exactly the same thing. We say, Atman, I, the real I, where? Here is the body. Here is the mind. Yes, I understand. Or if you want to go further in detail, the Annamaya, the food sheet, the Pranamaya, the vital sheet, the Manomaya, the mental sheet, the Vijnanamaya, the intellect sheet, which is doing all this analysis, the intellect sheet, and beyond that, the bliss and darkness of deep sleep, the Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss sheet. Yeah, there are these 5 sheets. There is the body and the mind. Where is the Atman? The 10th person is not there. Where is the Atman? Where is the witness consciousness? The one which is experiencing the 5 sheets. The one which is experiencing body and mind, quite apart from body and mind. That one is the 10th person. That one is the Atman. It's happening to us all the time and we just don't get it. So this is what is said here. Sakshinah puratah bhati lingam dehena sangyutam. The subtle body connected with the physical body shines in front of the witness consciousness, and we identify ourselves with it and forget our real nature. This forgetting, this covering is called the veiling power of Maya, and this is the cause of samsara. We come to verse number 17. How does this process happen? Here. Asya jivattvamaropat, asya jivattvamaropat, sakshinyapyavabhasate, sakshinyapyavabhasate, avritau tu vinashtayam, avritau tu vinashtayam, bhede bhate apayati tat, bhede bhate apayati tat. The jiva, the individual being, the body-mind complex consciousness is reflected consciousness, body-mind complex, this jiva, the jiva nature is now superimposed on the pure consciousness. You, the witness consciousness, now you feel, I am a jiva, I am an individual being, I am this person with the body and mind. What's happening here is what is technically called a mutual superimposition. Pure consciousness becomes identified with body-mind. And if you ask, who are you? This, body-mind. What is this body and mind? It's me, it's I. So I am this body and mind. Do you see the double movement? One is, who am I? This one. And if somebody comes and catches hold of this, what is this? It's me. So I associate, the pure consciousness, forgetting my real nature, I associate myself with body and mind and say, this is who I am. And somebody who points out the body and mind and asks me, what is this? I superimpose this upon me and say, this is me. So I am this and this is me. This is the nature of superimposition. This is a technical term, but superimposition, it sounds formidable. It just means an error, a mistake. Imposition is, here's a hand and I put the book on the hand, impose the book on the hand. But superimposition is not like that. It's not like there is pure consciousness and then there is a body and a mind and I put the body and mind on the pure consciousness. No, not like that. I take that pure consciousness to be body-mind. I, the pure consciousness, I forget myself and I take it to be body-mind. It's not that there is a real snake which is put on a real rope. No. It's the real rope which is taken to be a snake which is false. The snake is not real, but we mistake the real rope for a false snake. Exactly in the same way, we mistake within ourselves, pure consciousness, to be this body-mind. Outside ourselves, we mistake Brahman to be these trees and people and sky and ocean and all of that. So this is what is happening. Asya, look at the verse. Asya jivatvam aropat. By aropa means superimposition. By superimposition, the jiva nature, sakshinyapya avabhasate, it appears in the witness consciousness. Now the witness consciousness says, no longer says I'm consciousness. It says, I'm overweight. I need to lose weight. How can consciousness be overweight? But it's the body which is overweight. And I think I'm the body, and so I am overweight. I need to lose weight. I am hungry. How can consciousness be hungry? But the prana, the hunger in the prana, is superimposed upon me, and I say, I am hungry. I am miserable. How can consciousness be miserable? The misery in the mind is superimposed upon consciousness, and we say, I am miserable. So this is the process of superimposition. When the veiling power of Maya is cut aside, avrito tu vinashtayam, the veiling power is removed, what happens? The difference shines forth. Bhede bhate apayati tat. The difference between body, mind and pure consciousness shines forth. And then this jiva nature is removed. I no longer think I am the jiva. I think I am Brahman. So the difference being removed, the difference between the Brahman nature or witness consciousness nature and body mind, it becomes obvious. And then my jiva nature is removed. I realize that I am Brahman. You see, the enlightened person and the difference between an enlightened person and an unenlightened person. When we use the word I, when I say I, in Sanskrit, aham, I, we mean only one thing. If I'm an unenlightened person, I will mean this body and mind. Who am I? This body and mind. But the enlightened person, when that person uses I, he or she uses it in two distinct meanings, which are different from our meanings. So the word I, the term I, has three meanings. I'm getting this analysis from a very well-known text of Advaita, Panchadashi. In that text, there is this analysis. The word I, we all use it, the word I. It has three meanings. One meaning used by the unenlightened and two meanings used by the enlightened. What could be the meaning of I? When we use it, when an unenlightened person uses it, I means body-mind. When an enlightened person uses it, it has two meanings. One meaning, the primary meaning is Satchidananda. When an enlightened person says, Shivoham, I am of the nature of Shiva, he really means it. He's not just singing it. So the enlightened person realizes, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Literally for that enlightened person, the word I, the sensation of I, points to Satchidananda, that I am Brahman. That's the first meaning in which the enlightened person uses the word I. The second meaning in which the enlightened person uses the word I is to refer to this body and mind, but not in the sense we do. We use it in a primary sense, that I am really this body and mind. That's all I am. But the enlightened person knows that I am not the body and mind. In order to interact with us, the enlightened person will still refer to this body and mind as I. But he knows without the least shred of doubt that I am not this body and mind. So the enlightened person might say, I am walking, I am talking, let's go and eat. And an enlightened person might say that, referring clearly to the body and mind. Sri Ramakrishna once fell down and broke his arm, and he said, well, my arm is broken. When he says my arm is broken, he's using it in the secondary sense. He does not really mean that he is a body and mind, but in order to transact with us. Sometimes enlightened persons will slip up and refer to the body-mind as this. That's what they really feel, this, body and mind. So sometimes Sri Ramakrishna would say, when you come here to devotees, you come here, bring something for this. So this would mean the body-mind. Once when his picture was taken, which is now worshipped in many places, he looked at the picture and he put flowers in front of the picture and said, one day this will be worshipped in many houses. So he refers to the body and mind as this thing. The enlightened person uses the word I in two distinct senses. As Brahman, really, Satchidananda, and as body and mind, just to transact with us. That's just by the way. Now, verse number 18. This is within ourselves. Pure consciousness gets associated with body and mind. And how do you separate pure consciousness? You ask, okay, how do I remove the veiling power of Maya? We have already been taught that. The first verse, remember? The first verse said, forms are seen, eyes are the seer. Step 1. Step 2, the eyes themselves become seen, the mind is the seer. The mind itself, step 3, the mind itself is seen, experienced, and the witness consciousness is the seer. That is the separation between the witness consciousness and body-mind. That was taught to us in the very first verse itself. Now, this same phenomenon happens in the world outside, not only within ourselves, but outside in the world. It seems to be a place of things and people, not Brahman, not an ocean of existence. So that is mentioned now. What is happening in the world outside? 18th verse. Tatha sarga brahmanoscha, tatha sarga brahmanoscha, bhedam avritya tishtati, bhedam avritya tishtati, ya shakti tadvashad brahma, ya shakti tadvashad brahma, vikritattvena bhasate, vikritattvena bhasate. Tatha, and further, Sarga Brahmana, the universe and Brahman, the difference between the two is obscured by the veiling power of Maya. So what happens? Ya Shakti Tadvashad Brahma, that Shakti, that power of Maya which veils, because of that, Brahma Vikritattvena Bhasate. Brahman alone appears in a distorted way. The rope appears as a snake because of our ignorance. The sky appears blue because we think there's a blue color out there. There is not. It's just the scattering of light in that way. The desert appears as a mirage full of water. There's no water there. It looks like water. Brahman appears as this world. Vikritattvena, distorted. Distorted in what sense? An infinite, immortal existence now appears as existing things. Here are things which exist. People who exist, things which exist. These things are born and they change and they die. They are created and they are destroyed. The immortal Brahman appears as birth and death. The immortal Brahman in unbroken ocean of existence appears as myriads, a plurality of things and people and animals and creatures and all of that. Millions and millions of entities. One unbroken existence. It's not very difficult to understand. We have a beautiful example just out there. Look at the ocean. It's one unbroken mass of water. It appears as thousands and thousands of waves, all being born and changing and getting destroyed and more coming up and so on and so forth. It's one unbroken mass of water. In the same way, one unbroken mass of existence appears in all these forms. One unchanging consciousness, Chit, unchanging consciousness, now appears as this changing mind. Thoughts. Somebody said we have 16,000 thoughts in a day or something like that. So many thoughts come and go. Mostly useless. If they were useful, then we would all be geniuses. But it's the same repetitive pattern of thinking which comes again and again. Thoughts come up, change and disappear and are replaced by other thoughts, emotions, ideas, feelings. One consciousness now shining forth in all these ways. What is unbroken bliss? We were singing just now, Anandoham, I am bliss, bliss absolute. What is unbroken bliss now appears as a miserable world, a world full of strife and struggle and unhappiness, and a constant struggle to overcome unhappiness. So Sat, pure existence, appears as existing things, birth and death, distorted. Chit, pure consciousness, appears as many, many thoughts and experiences, coming and going, changing, distorted. Ananda, bliss, the bliss nature itself appears as this world of dualities, sukha dukkha, happiness and misery. misery overwhelming us, we're trying to get rid of misery, and happiness, we are always chasing happiness, never really finding it, never unable to hold on to it, even when we find it. Though it is our own nature, we struggle to stay alive, forgetting that we are immortal. We struggle to, understand this world, forgetting we are the understanding, the consciousness which appears as this world. If you understand yourself as Satchidananda, you have understood this universe. I have time for one more Ganesha story. Everybody loves Ganesha stories. So, the story goes like this. Shiva and Parvati, the divine parents of this universe, they have kids. So, Hindu mythology can appear to be a soap opera, full of so many characters and things happening. So they are nice stories. And the stories are always pretty profound. Ganesha is one of the sons. The two sons are there, Ganesha and Kartikeya. Kartikeya is the god of war, and Ganesha is the god who removes obstacles. And they have two daughters too. Daughters generally do better than the sons, I think. So the two daughters are the goddesses of wealth and goddess of learning. Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and Saraswati, the goddess of learning, whom you can see behind it, this picture of Saraswati. So now, one day, the Divine Mother, Parvati, she has this mango. In some stories, it's a necklace. She has this mango and she says, boys, I'll give this mango to the first one who goes around the universe. It's a race. Remember, they are gods, so they can do that. You have to go around the universe and come back to me 3 times. You have to go around the universe 3 times and come back to me. The one who comes back to me first gets this mango. You might think that's a lot of trouble for one mango. But they're gods. They can do all these things. And Kartikeya, he's the god of war. He is a lean, mean fighting machine. And his mode of transport, remember all the Hindu gods and goddesses, they have their modes of transport. The Divine Mother gets the best one. She got the lion. Shiva, the Lord of the universe, he has the bull. And Saraswati has the swan. And Lakshmi has the owl. And Kartikeya has the peacock. And Ganesha, poor Ganesha has a little mouse. So now Kartikeya is very confident. Ganesha, he's overweight, he's lazy, and after all, the mouse, how fast can he move on the mouse? And I have the peacock. Though peacocks don't really fly too well. Anyway, we'll just take it for the sake of the story. It's a super peacock. It can fly very well. And so Kartikeya hops on the peacock and flies up, flaps away to circle the universe. And the Divine Mother Parvati looks at Ganesha, who's relaxing as usual. My dear, aren't you going to try? And Ganesha says, if you insist. And he gets up. You can imagine the mouse trembling. Here comes the kid. Why can't he lose a few pounds? But he doesn't go to the mouse. He folds his hands and he circles Shiva and Parvati 3 times. And then he bows down to his mother and says, thou, Shiva and Parvati, my parents, you are the essence of the universe. There is nothing in the universe other than you. You alone appear as this universe. So when I circle you, I have circled the essence of the universe. I have known the truth of the universe. I have circled the universe. And the Divine Mother is so happy with Ganesha, she gives him the mango. And he's sort of finishing up the mango and wiping his mouth when Kartikeya comes back, flapping with his peacock, exhausted but confident. And he sees Ganesha finishing up the last of the mango, and he's annoyed. He says, what is this? It's cheating. I went around the universe. I really did. I should get the mango. And the Divine Mother explains, the universe which you circled is an appearance. The reality is your dad and me, Shiva and Parvati. Exactly like that, what Vedanta says, you don't have to know the entire universe in detail. You don't have to see everything, hear everything, taste everything, meet everybody in the universe. No. If you know gold, you know all golden ornaments. If you know water, you know every wave in this ocean. If you know consciousness within, Satchidananda, you know everything that there is to know about the universe. So that appears as this changing universe, that pure consciousness. pure bliss appears as misery and the search for happiness. Then if you remove the veiling power, verse 19, and we'll stop at verse 19. If you remove the veiling power, what appears as the universe will suddenly reveal itself to you as Brahman, as existence, consciousness, bliss. 19. Atrapyavriti nashena vibhati brahma sargayo bhedastayor vikarasyat sargena brahmani kvachit. Atrapi, in this case also. In which case? In the case of the world. What is the other case? Within ourselves. What's this case? This world which we experience. Atrapi, avriti nashena. When the veiling power is removed, then removed by what? By knowledge. How do you do that? Everybody will be eager to. How do I see God in everything? It'll be revealed. Don't worry, it's coming. But not today. You have to wait till tomorrow. Vibhati Brahma Sargayo, the Bheda, the difference between the universe and Brahman is revealed. But remember here, the difference between the universe and Brahman, when they say this, they don't mean two things. There's one Brahman and there's a universe. Not like this. Difference between the book and the bottle. Two different things. Not like this. It's like the difference between water and wave. When you look at that ocean, you see the water, but you see all the waves also. And you understand the difference between water and wave. You know it's water alone which appears in all these forms. Imagine there's a person who's so ignorant, who just doesn't get it, who says, there are waves, and there is a surf, and there are boats. Where is water? If the person just doesn't get it, he's looking straight at water, doesn't get that it is water. The moment that person is enlightened, what happens? The difference between water and wave, water and surf, it becomes clear. Not as two different things, but water alone appearing as waves and the surf. With the consequent advantages which we saw yesterday. When the wave realized itself as water, it got all the advantages of being water, of being immortal. So, the difference between the Brahman and the universe is like that. Brahman appears as the universe. You see the same universe, but you see through and see Brahman also. See means not with these eyes, with the eye of knowledge. Vikarasyat sargena brahmani kvachit. All changes are in this appearance in the universe. Changes are in the wave, not in the water. Changes are in the universe, not in Brahman. There is birth in the universe, there is aging in the universe, there is disease in the universe, there is death in the universe. There is happiness and misery, a continuous play of light and shadow. But underneath it all, Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss is one and the same. That's why for an enlightened person, when that enlightened person experiences the universe, for that enlightened person, it is just joy. What we might consider misery is still to that enlightened person, still the same joyous Brahman. In happiness and misery, sees the one unchanging Brahman. How do you do that? Looking at the world, can you see Brahman? Yes, it's coming in the very next verse, the 20th verse. For that, we'll wait till tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.